So in this video, I'll try to explain that Sikh teachings are more relevant than they've ever been. Is Sikhism compatible with modern life? This is a question that people may ask us like in college or in daily life that, so many years have passed since the times of the gurus. Are Sikh teachings still relevant? So in order to answer this question, we first have to think about what does it mean to be modern? So usually by modernity, people mean that we have a lot more conveniences, we have a lot of developments in science and technology, we have a lot better medicine. So the world has changed a lot in the 300 years since the times of the gurus. So have Sikh teachings, do they still have that relevance that they had at that time? So in this video, I'll try to explain that Sikh teachings are more relevant than they've ever been. And this is why. So during the time of the gurus, most people lived in villages. And in the village life, the basic struggle was always for survival. And, oftentimes there was shortages of food, there were shortages of water, there was disease, there was famine. And so it was difficult. Daily life was very difficult. So the basic energy of mankind, or the people in India of that time especially, was towards gathering their basic necessities. So Gurbani teaches us how to connect with God and how to obtain peace of mind. These are questions that really only gain relevance after our basic necessities are met. For example, somebody who has to worry about where their next meal is going to come from, somebody who has to worry about how they're going to feed their family may not have that time, energy, or mental space to think about meditation. So, but the gurus delivered this message during that time. And during that time, indeed, through the power of Sangat, through the power of the guru's message, there were many people that connected with God despite living in poverty. But now, as time has gone on, especially in Western countries, our basic needs are met. We're able to have food, water, conveniences. But now this is when the real questions arise. And some of us may know about the hierarchy of needs, which was taught by Abraham Maslow, in which he talks about what becomes relevant for us at each step of life. So for somebody who's constantly in a state of insecurity and who doesn't know, how to get like food, water, shelter, for them, appreciating a work of art is not relevant. But for somebody, for example, we have so much access to art, entertainment, technology. So in the Western world, and increasingly in much of the world, our basic needs are being met. But then the question arises, what beyond this, or what is the purpose of life? This question only gains relevance as our basic needs are met. And if we look at all of Gurbani, Gurbani tries to answer this question, and Gurbani answers this question in every Shabad. So it starts with the mind. Almost every Shabad in Guru Granth Sahib Ji addresses the mind directly. And Guruji recognizes that the mind is not a static thing. It's not always feeling the same. Our mind fluctuates in different moods. Sometimes we feel sad. Sometimes we feel anxious. Sometimes we feel happy. Sometimes we feel very happy. So Gurbani addresses every single state of mind. And it gives us a message that really pierces us for whatever state of mind that we're in. And Guruji recognized that in the coming time that the mind will gain more and more relevance. How much more prevalence of psychology and psychiatry do we see now than even 50 years ago? And this is because as our basic needs are being met, our psychological questions are gaining relevance. We have so much time on our hands that sometimes we feel anxious that what should we do to keep ourselves occupied? But Gurbani gives us that route through which our mind can find rest. And starting with Japji Sahib itself, Gurbani addresses the mind. Guruji says, Mat vich ratan jawahar manak, jek gur ki sikh suni. Within the mind itself is the priceless jewel if we listen to the Guru's teachings. So the problem with the modern era is that we often look for the answers outside through entertainment, through distractions, and this may temporarily keep us from facing our inner problems. But Guruji says if we look inwards, if we go deep within, that is where the true jewel lies. And so Gurbani has only gained relevance with time, and through the Guru's blessings, when we begin to read Gurbani and trying to understand it, we really appreciate that Guru Granth Sahib Ji gives us a very practical approach to God. It doesn't ignore our daily needs, our necessities. It tells us to pray for those things that we want and those things that we need. But it also tells us that ultimate peace and happiness and rest for the mind can be obtained through Nam, through reciting God's name alone, and through no other method. So this is the greatness of Gurbani, in that it's a scripture that addresses the mind alone, which is the need of our time.